This is the Development Review Board meeting. Today is August 22nd. First item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda, and we do have one change for the agenda. Under item C, it will be regarding approval of the minutes, and it will be recommendation to approve the minutes from June 27th of 2023. So with that, one update, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for today's meeting?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We all good?
Can you
Yep.
do the second? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we do that, do we need to call the roll? I apologize.
Yeah.
I am all out of sorts.
That's
So
okay, that's okay, I was
with-
gonna help you out.
before we get going on that,
I was
can we
gonna
have
help you
the
out.
roll call, please?
Yes. Rick Kane,
Present.
Patricia Lee, absent. Braxton Linton, Brent Hartman,
Present.
Rebecca Hartman,
Here.
Karen.
Heron, Farley Cross, absent. Mark Robertson.
Present.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, and with that, we have a motion by Mr. Robinson to approve, to adopt the agenda for today with the one revision on item C, and then a second by Mr. Kane. All in favor of adoption of the agenda for today's meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have an agenda. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, which was June 27th of 2023. Anybody had a chance to review the minutes? And if so, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the June 27th, 2023 DRB meeting. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Kane, a second by Mr. Linton. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes from the previous meeting are approved. Next, we have our discussion item for today. Can staff please read the item into the record?
Yes, Chair. EDA Consultants Agent for North Storm Corporation requests for a major site plan development, and planner that will be speaking on this project is Juan Costello.
All right,
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the board. Thank you so much for being here this evening. For the record, my name is Juan Castillo. I'm a planner with the Department of Sustainable Development. And the item before you this evening is a major development for the Nordstrom semi-trailer parking. Oops, there I go. Here I am trying to make sure this is correct, and I still pressed the wrong button. But, so the major development for Nordstrom semi-trailer parking proposal. Now I do want it to go over. There we go. So the proposal is to add additional parking for semi-trailers at the existing Nordstrom Distribution Center. They currently do have some existing parking for semi-trailers, as you can see here, but they're just adding 139 extra parking in order to accommodate for future expansions and the current distribution needs of the center. And this is basically what we are looking at here, just to park these bad boys right there. Wrong way. So a few facts about the proposal. This is located at 5497 Northeast 49 Terrace. The current use of the property is for distribution. The property size is 24.65 acres or 26 and a little bit of acres, depending on what source you look at, whether the property appraiser or the survey. The improved site, or what's existing there as far as the distribution center, takes up 16.09 acres of the site. The proposal before you will take 5.54 acres of that 16 acres. This is a major development due to the fact that they are exceeding the 100 parking spots threshold. In this case, 139 parking spots. So this is coming before you as a major development review. So this is what the proposal looks like. They'll be adding parking, those parking trailer spots right around the blue shaded area. This right here is existing parking. There are some parking spots right over here, which they will extend in order to accommodate for the trailers, the truck trailers. And this is just a look from the ground facing northwest. This is the entrance to the distribution center right over here. There's a wonderful semi-trailer about to turn in. This is the west view, and you can see the gate that leads into the Nordstrom distribution center, vegetated buffer. Then this is a view from the southeast portion, looking towards the northwest. And watch out for that tree. So the land use designation is industrial. As you can see here, we also have the supported zoning district of General Industrial 2, which supports the existing use on the property. When staff looked at this development, major development, before it came before you, we do have certain criteria that we looked at. We made sure that the proposal was consistent with our land development code as well as our comprehensive plan. And of course, making sure that it meets the major development threshold criteria. So it is compliant with the comprehensive plan. Primarily, the existing use is industrial, and any auxiliary uses will be associated with the existing use. In this case, the auxiliary parking spots, which will go to support the use of distribution center. And it is compliant with our land development code. It meets all our setbacks, sidewalk requirements, which in industrial areas, you're not required to have a sidewalk. That is stated in our policy 1.1.3. LOS pedestrian industrial areas just are exempt from having to provide sidewalks. So we do have some comments associated with this item before you. The comments primarily revolve around clarification of information. There are comments mainly from stormwater as far as that clarification. There are comments from urban forestry just to identify some of the high heritage trees on the property. None of the comments are, in staff's view, are deterrent for you to make a determination today. And there is a condition that any of the comments that haven't been met yet will have to be met in order for approval of this petition. So as I mentioned, that condition is any unresolved staff comments need to be resolved before the final plan approval. This has been properly advertised. This is the affidavit and a picture of the sign. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the major development petition before you. And I am here and available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Castillo. Does the board have any questions? Mr. Robinson?
Pardon my ignorance, what's the typical age of a parking structure? Will it be concrete or is it asphalt, and how long does it normally last before it has to be, serviced?
You know, that's a great question. I probably would not be able to give you an exact answer on that. Maybe the applicant will be able to talk a little bit more on that.
I'll tell you where I'm going with that. I'm just wondering if in 10 years you need to put some conduit for some electric for EV trucks. You need to prepare for, 10 or 15 years, everything's electric. I don't know. Just a question.
Yeah. I don't believe the current proposal has EV trucks in mind, but,
Oh, I understand that.
but I'm sure the applicant can give some more information on that.
Any other questions from the board? Can you, I think I saw there were a number of different discussion points from staff in reviewing this. Can you just highlight what some of the conditions are and some of the concerns? I know that there was just the one slide that discussed a few conditions.
Right.
If there's some others that you might like to highlight in there, I'd be interested in hearing that.
Let's see, you might not be able to read in all of that, but for example, this condition right here from stormwater mentions a slope stability analysis that should be performed for berms, and some clarification, confirmation on how that berms will be constructed. Let's see, over here we have, that's not really coherent, let's see. Please justify the use of 484 inches in the precondition. The response indicates it is steeply sloped. So they just want some clarification on the slope of that based on the contours on the property. Let's see, another one. Please provide recovery reports justifying times as stated by the model. So they're referring to the stormwater model here, and they just want some clarification on that as well. Let's see. And I'm just kind of picking some of the highlights. If you go over to the urban forestry, it talks about please indicate a detail for the high quality heritage barricade system and the 2 high quality heritage live oaks that are on the property will need their mitigation calculated. So those are some of the comments. It's really hard to read. It's hard to read for me to read. But those are some of the comments that you'll be seeing through. And all of the comments are also in your backup.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you, Mr. Castillo.
Sure.
Does the applicant have a presentation as well?
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Sutton from EDA. We do have a presentation, but I think Juan did a great job reviewing the project. So we're here and able to answer any questions if you have them. It is proposed to be concrete. Someone asked about that, and it should last about 30 years. We aren't proposing EV infrastructure at this time. We really aren't doing many utility improvements because it's just pavement. At some point in the future, they do have a long-term plan to expand this facility. That may be the appropriate time to adjust the utilities and add some additional electric infrastructure, but that's not part of our plan at this time. Most of the comments, a lot of them had to do with stormwater, and we've refined some of those models. We had some additional geotech information done to provide that seepage analysis and the information that Public Works asked for. We're planning to resubmit at the end of this week. And so hopefully we can get approved in the next cycle. But we're here if you have any questions. I don't really have anything in my slides in addition to what Juan shared. So I'm happy to just answer questions, or we agree with the staff condition and the recommendation of approval tonight.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I think so.
Okay. All right. I'll open it up to board discussion. Anybody have anything that they'd like to discuss on this item?
There's no public comment, right?
Oh, I'm saying, yeah, is there any public comment? Okay, thank you, Mr. Kane. All right, I guess at this time, then I'd open it up for board discussion of this item.
I see nothing wrong, as long as the comments are addressed. Yeah, I don't really see anything wrong with this.
All right, anyone
I
else?
agree. I think it's pretty straightforward. If staff is comfortable with it, they will meet the concerns and issues that have been raised, then I'm comfortable approving.
Any other comments?
And I agree, it's, my questions about the EV conduit are probably premature, but I don't think if it's a 30-year life cycle of the project, it's not that premature. Maybe 3 to 5 year premature. But.
Certainly could be coming in the near future. If there are any other comments, I'd love to hear any other comments. If not, then I'd be open to a motion on this item.
Grant motion to approve on the basis of. As long as staff comments are addressed. Is that good enough?
All right, we have a motion to approve this item pending resolution of the comments from the staff. We have a second from Ms. Herron. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. This is, I guess it's a development that or a petition that we're approving for this major development project. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment for the board? All right. I would now open it up to member comment. And one thing that I would like to discuss during this member comment time period, we do have, as a board, we have a duty to come up with essentially a report back to the city commission on the Development Review Board. There's a few items that they would like for us to respond to, a few question items, sort of generally discussing the mission of our board and what our board does to assist the city. I'll throw out the 5 questions and would love to collaborate with ourselves as a board to kind of come up with a response to the city. There's a question about what we understand the mission of our board to be. What are the 3 most important things our board has done during calendar years 2022 and 2023? What are the 3 most important things our board is working on right now? What can the city commission do to help our board better serve our neighbors? And what else do we need the city commission to know about our board? And so we can address these one by one. First question is what we understand the mission of our board to be. And I think in a, my thoughts on, just from a very straightforward, literal standpoint, I think the mission of our board is to review and evaluate petitions for variances and petitions for major developments within the city, and to see if they meet the city's sustainable plan for sustainable development in the city. But I'd love to hear what any other thoughts are from the rest of the board on our mission.
From the training, it seemed like it was very clearly defined, and the guidelines. You stay in the lanes, and
Right.
we do what is asked.
Yeah, so by the book, certainly.
Yeah.
I do think that there's that's the sort of the specific mission of the board. But I think in sort of in a broader perspective, I think the board can also, while staying within the lines and staying in our lanes, I think there are definitely times that the board can offer some feedback and offer some positive critiques to certain development projects and to certain projects where developers or landowners are requesting variances to continue to, while staying within those lines and making sure that we're evaluating it within, to make sure that everything meets code, to also make sure that that it is sort of serving the neighbors of the land that could be being developed, or that's the developments that are proposed before the board, to make sure that there is a good marriage between the developed property and the surrounding properties. I don't know if you guys agree with that, or if there's anything else that you guys would like to add to that, but that's kind of my thoughts on that.
To that end, I mean, another way I think of it is it's a process to clarify that everything's being followed, and to give opportunities for feedback and review. And my understanding, part of this was historically from some fast tracking that caused some concern in the community, so they wanted to make sure, things weren't always in the fast track lane.
Yeah, I think, Rick's been on the board longer than I have, but I think one of the things that, when I first came on the board, we didn't review the major developments. And I
Right.
think that's it, but I think it's possible that there were, prior to when I joined the board, there were major developments and other things that came
Right.
before this board. And so now that's something that has come back. And, for something like tonight, it seemed like that was more straightforward, but that sometimes there are bigger developments that I think it is helpful to have multiple rounds of just different sets of eyeballs to review a project and offer constructive criticism, so to speak, on certain major developments within the city. And so from a broader perspective, I think that, that's the combination of, just looking at things by the book, and does this development as it's proposed meet the specific guidelines within the code, as well as then, as a board, us being able to offer some feedback to the developers, and to allow for public comment to be heard about some developments, because we do have some members of the public who have come in and offered some good critiques as well. Anything else that anybody would like to add in terms of our mission?
I think that's good. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different perspectives. And I think that's part of the role of this board, is just to offer, like you mentioned, a different set of eyes. That's not a developer, that's may be able to see things from a public perspective that may not be seen or addressed, just to have a different perspective. But I think you provided a good summary of what I think the mission is of the DRB.
Anybody else have anything to add? I will work on sort of trying to summarize that into a couple sentence, 1 or 2 sentence statement before it goes forward to the city. And will we have another chance to try and sort of review the language before we need to submit something to the city?
What we can do is that they can send you the comments and everything, but the next meeting will be the last one we can be able to,
Okay.
whatever the comments you all come with today, and then whatever the email that I sent out 2 emails with the questions and information to say, please give feedback. And once you give that feedback to me, if you would like to send something to me, I'll forward it to the chair.
Okay. Yeah, I know that we can't just communicate through email together, because that's, that'd be a violation of the Sunshine Law. So,
That's correct.
I would love to, I plan to at least try and come up with some sort of consolidated responses to these questions. And then if I send that to you, then can that then go out to
Yes.
the rest of the board for review prior to our next meeting?
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
And also to Chair, they can send you responses, and I can make sure that you receive their responses as well. And then
Okay.
you can consolidate all the information, and then whatever the last ones, the last piece of information, I can send it off to all the chair members.
Okay, so, but when they respond, they need to respond to you rather
Yes.
than responding to my email?
That's
Okay, okay.
And you-
When does that report get presented?
October, the first part of October, so the last meeting is September 27th. And I do have that in the emails that I sent you all. I don't know, did you all receive them?
We did, yeah.
Okay, great. And with
I
all
think that's a
the
good way to
dates,
do it. I think rather than trying to come up now with the 3
with all
things
the
that
dates
we
and
worked on in
everything.
the past are most important, I think it might be helpful to give it more thought and respond by email. And those can be sent to Brent.
So Chair, my recommendation is to give your board a deadline to get the information back to you, so you'll have time to be able to put it in manner for yourself.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everybody does have the questions, the 5 questions that we're supposed to respond to. Okay. I'd love to, if you guys would like to discuss any other questions before we break up, because this is, it's a good opportunity to have discussion back and forth. And then certainly there's likely to be some stuff that we come up with that we just can't think of.
To communicate her philosophy and expectations for county employees, Manager Lieberman has given us the 5 C's. They begin with competence. We are experts in our field and can be trusted and relied on. We take personal responsibility for assignments. We're expected to get the job done well, and done on time.
Number 2 is consideration. We deliberately think about how our words and actions will affect our residents and coworkers. Kindness, respect, empathy, compassion, and professionalism are our tools.
Number 3 is collaboration. We include others. Outreach in the decision-making process includes stakeholders, residents, other government agencies, and our coworkers.
Number 4 is creativity. We are always finding better, more efficient, and effective ways of doing things. We have the confidence to use our imagination. Because we've always done it that way is no reason to settle or be satisfied.
Number 5 is
Yeah,
And that's the biggest complaint you ever hear is communication, I think.
I hear, this is out in the field, if you will, a complaint on occasion that department, I guess, seems to be somewhat understaffed at the city level. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't know what the workload is. I'm just curious now that we've had some turnover up here, if Mr. Castillo is a primary person that does reviews, or is there, I'm just wondering, I guess, from a city commission standpoint, is city staffed well enough to handle the workload of projects that come before the city?
So I'll let,
Try to answer some of that. So, Mr. Castillo is not the only one that's going to be presenting before you for these major development plans. We have currently a staff of 5 planners and myself. We could use more staff, frankly. The city's obviously going through some things budget-wise right now that they're trying to figure out what to do at a higher level. I can say we did request, when the commission was discussing requiring major development plans to come before this board, we requested an additional planner position at some level that was not approved. So we were hoping to get another planner to cover the additional workload, frankly. But I do think we're staffed to handle the load for this board. It hasn't been, it's been manageable so far.
Right.
There's just been, I think this was the second major development plan that y'all have reviewed. We are, tracking them as they come through and trying to keep an eye on the workload. It's been manageable so far.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of other work that the planners in our department do too.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're trying to figure out the best way to balance that. But yeah, we could use more staff. I don't know how that's going to happen in the near future, but it's been manageable so far.
Yeah.
But you will see, probably next month, you'll see another planner come here to present another major development plan. It just happened to be that Juan did the last 2 reviews that you saw.
Gotcha.
I have a question. I know I'm probably the newest member, but when was the last time you guys denied anything? Like, can you remember? Because ever since I've been here, we've approved everything unanimously.
There have been occasions, yeah, I wouldn't want to give an example, I don't remember exactly what the specifics were, but there have been occasions where we have not approved, sometimes we send it back with certain conditions, with certain recommendations. Yeah, so just, we try to handle each one on a case-by-case basis, but.
It seems like sometimes when there's sort of an indication from the board that we might not be in favor of one, the petitioner will withdraw the petition, because
Right.
if we deny the petition, then my understanding is then they can't come back for another 12 months.
That's correct.
And then, so if they withdraw it and they kind of use some of the discussion points, then I remember at least one, there was a commercial business that came back a few months later with some additional changes.
That's right.
Yeah, and so they were able to come back and make some additional changes after working further with city staff and got one approved. And then I think wasn't there like a Chick-fil-A one that we just outright?
Oh, yes, the dual lane. Like
Yeah.
They have the emergency lane. I think, yeah.
They ended up revising their application,
That's
or
right.
some additional information came up where they no longer needed what they were requesting
Yeah.
from you, yeah.
Yeah. But there have been, I don't recall us, no, I think one of the very first ones, it was a residential one that we denied. There
We
was,
have to not
Septic tank.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
there's a septic tank one, and there was one for, somebody wanted to do something with their driveway to allow, or with their garage to,
I thought we ended up approving that one.
there was
Where he was trying to connect his garage to almost like a nanny suite or like something like that.
no, there was a different one.
Remember that.
Yeah.
There was a different one where, I forget exactly what, or maybe they were going to extend their garage further towards the street or something like that, and so then there wasn't going to be as much space in between the front of the garage and the right of way and the sidewalk, so that if somebody was parking in front of the garage and wasn't actually parked inside the garage, that would have then blocked the sidewalk in front of the street. But it seems like it's more often than not we end up approving the petitions, but there's definitely been
I think that
occasions.
goes towards staff too, like they're doing a lot of work on the front end to make sure they're not
Right.
recommending, like I don't think they've ever recommended us to deny something. So like, usually they won't let it get to that, it's like, if they're putting something in front of us, they're like, okay, we vetted it and we think we could grant the variance, as long as you believe it meets those criteria.
Well, the information that I sent out to you all about the code, I would recommend that you look at the code and look at the project to make sure that all the guidelines are following the code as well as the guidelines that's been presented in the staff reports. Because I try to get those to you real early, so.
Yeah, and that was one thing that when I specifically remember when Lawrence was doing some of his presentations, he would sort of highlight in the presentations, here are the categories that need to be met for a variance, or here are the specific things that we're responsible for evaluating seeing whether different criteria were met when we're evaluating a petition. And so that's, to me, that's one of the things that I think would be helpful that we may want to put down here. We all have access to the code, but sometimes reading through the entire code is an arduous task, and it's
I don't know as well as you do.
It's not always as easy to know, which specific areas we need to be looking at for a petition versus a major development, or a variance versus a major development. And so that might be one of the things that might be worth mentioning as something that can is helpful for us when we're evaluating the different types of petitions.
And I do apologize, Chairman. I do send out the last email with the information with whatever the project is going to be talking about, and I try to make sure that you see what code it relates to. So I'll make sure I add that additional information on as well.
Yeah.
We appreciate you getting those out to us as early as you do as well. That's very helpful for the last minute.
Yeah, sometimes there have been times in the past where, you know, because it's, you know, just the nature of it, sometimes we're not able to see that until, like, you know, the Monday or before, or sometimes even the morning of, and so it is helpful to have it, you know, a week or so in advance sometimes, to give us time to take a look at that before the meetings. Any other thoughts on any of these discussion points? Okay, well, I will work on at least summarizing a few of the things that we've talked about today. I will get that out so that then you guys can review it and then offer back comments so that we can sort of come up with a finalized report at our next meeting. Does that sound like a plan?
And we can send any ideas we have over, and then you'll get them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just don't send them directly to me, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other comment? Yes.
Yes, sir. Chair, would like to say that we do have an APA board member that will be going to the APA conference this year.
Exciting.
And so, and that would be Rebecca.
All
So
right.
you all give her.
Full report.
Yes. And also, to Chair, you have 2 board members that will be, their position will be expiring in November, which is Mr. Rick Kane and Mark Robinson. So,
I think mine too.
no, you will not be expiring. You are here.
You're on for at least another year.
So,
Mark, you just got here.
I know.
Yeah, it might be
Filling in for someone?
it was because
till
you.
the end of somebody else's position, potentially.
Yeah, and I know at one point, it was, I think it was.
Everyone was at
Yeah,
the
there were
same
like,
time,
yeah, I think
and
like
staff.
5 or 6 of us were gonna end at the same time, and so they were trying to stagger it a little bit better. And so some of the terms that were renewed for longer than other terms, but I can't speak for everyone, but I would wish that you will both reapply and get reappointed to the board and continue to serve on the board. Any other member comments for tonight? All right, hearing none, our next meeting is scheduled for September 26th. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Robinson, second by Ms. Herron. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 7:20.
Department staff engaged Copeland residents to plan for neighborhood improvements. We received 2 grants in addition to reallocated fund awards from the Federal Emergency Rental Assistance Program, totaling over $32 million to assist residents in remaining housed. A portion of this funding, along with sales tax, can be used for affordable housing projects. A pilot local housing voucher program was initiated to assist 10 homeless families waiting for a federal housing choice voucher. This is a partnership with a local agency and the